Mayor of eThekwini, Excellencies, distinguished guests, some support, Chairperson, DDG, responsible for Maritime branch, Mr. Madia, representatives of foreign governments, shipping companies, maritime industry, fellow South Africans, members of the media, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, when I entered this venue this evening, I had an epiphany of how the lush green garden of Eden looked like. I had a picture of how the green garden of Eden looked like. I can only exclaim, wow. To the organizing team, we have done a stellar job honoring our national, regional, and continental, and even indeed our international honored guests. Allow me to immensely appreciate the presence of our IMO Secretary General and the IMO Council, who is also here present with us. Thank you, SG, for supporting developing countries, as well as making sure that they too are not left behind. We feel your support as a country, South Africa, whenever and wherever we are. You've actually referred to the fact that we met for the first time in 2015. Can I just share with you that when indeed we met the SG, at the time he wasn't the SG. He wanted to be the SG. So he actually came to lobby us to vote for him. And the secret I'm about to share with you, please don't tell anyone. So when he lobbied us, we then said, indeed, however we have an African candidate, there was one from Kenya who was also contesting the position. Then we said, as South Africa and Africa will first support ours. But if he doesn't make it, you are our second choice. So he was actually counting on the African candidate, losing so that we support him. And indeed, our African candidate from Kenya performed exceptionally good, but he exited at some stage. So he could count on 54 African states that now they are mine. And indeed, they were his. And that was at the assembly in IMO. Here we have him, and we don't regret having voted for him, but this is a secret. He's providing the leadership at the IMO ever since it started. We all feel welcomed and feel important, and we are able to make our views heard, and they are always taken seriously. And we want to congratulate you, SG, for leading IMO exceptionally good. To all our esteemed delegates from IMO member states, we warmly welcome you to South Africa, which is to a member state of IMO, a land alive with possibilities, a country that boasts of a coastline that is approximately 3,000 kilometers, resourced with world-class 80 national ports. Our ocean waters are almost 3 times the size of South Africa. In fact, it's 2.8 the size of South Africa. So you can put one South Africa, second, and of course the third one. And that actually make up the waters that we are responsible for. And these waters are made up by the warm Indian Ocean here in Durban and other areas, the cold Atlantic Ocean, and of course the very cold Southern Ocean. And we are responsible for all those waters. Some in the maritime sector say that our oceans make up, I want to say, an undeclared 10th province of South Africa. There is always contestation in that, because when you say that, the aviation sector says, in fact, our airspace is the 10th province of South Africa. So there is that contestation. Maybe we should amend the constitution and add level 10th and 11th province, which is our airspace and of course our waters. So our waterland, our coastline and our national ports are South Africa's important assets. This makes South Africa to be a maritime nation, a port state, and of course we want desperately to be a flag state. It is an absolute honor and privilege to host the first ever IMO World Parade event in the African soil, in the green city of Durban, under the eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality. So this one is not just for South Africa, but it is also for the continent. And we are proud as South Africa that we are the first to host this important international World Maritime Parade event. We do believe that you have already started the pure African hospitality and you are tasting it in South African soil. If I were to take you down the lane, post-1994 democratic elections, this journey to unearth maritime or the ocean's economy wealth of our country gained momentum 9 years ago, when in 2013, the minister, who then was the Minister of Transport, Mr. Ben Martins, declared the year 2013 as the Maritime Year. In 2014, we had 6 long weeks of intense laboratory focus, assessment, and assessing the potential of ocean economic wealth contribution towards gross domestic product. We looked at the opportunities of employment that this sector can create. And we're able, post that, to come up with some streams which were and continue to be, one, the maritime transport manufacturing, which as the Department of Transport, we are leading together with SAMSA, offshore oil and gas, aquaculture, maritime protection services and oceans governance, skills development and capacity building, and we later added coastal and marine tourism, small harbor development, research, technology, and innovation. In 2015, then Section 12Q was incorporated into the Income Tax Act. This was a huge milestone in that we as government and the sector found a tool that would allow the ship register to compete with those that are considered to be the best in the world from an international shipping taxation point of view. This section, which is Section 12Q, exempt international ships or ships from paying tonnage tax. In 2017, also, this was a very important year as we again made other discoveries and of course milestones. Yet that in the history of South Africa, we then had and adopted a comprehensive maritime transport policy for the first time in South Africa, which came at a point when the maritime agenda had achieved the prominence in the discourse of country's trajectory. Also during that year, we adopted, as Cabinet adopted the inland water strategy. So you will agree with me that the conclusion and adoption of the policy was key initiative of Operation Phakisa. This is an initiative that was and is meant to provide a toolkit for the growth and development of this sector. The policy was and is thoroughly canvassed even now and its primary objectives are well considered. Ladies and gentlemen, our presence here today is premised on the commitment to catalytically support the economic growth and development of greener shipping for new technologies. I do believe that the robust discussions that will be foregrounded in the coming 3 days will ensure that the global maritime community adopt safer, climate, smart, and sustainable economic growth for development of the maritime sector. To you, Your Excellency, the Secretary General of the IMO, South Africa is committed to protecting its ocean surface against any form of pollution and therefore subscribe to the introduction of new technologies for greener shipping. Borrowing from the words of our departed icon Nelson Mandela, he says, "It is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it." As we officially open this ceremony, we are guided by your wisdom with the hope that some of the commitments on the new technologies will emanate from this conference. We wish everyone a wonderful stay in our warm Durban shores. To the warm people of South Africa, the world has descended to your shores. Treat them with respect and love as you always do. We call it Ubuntu. To the international guests and delegates in South Africa, visitors are our treasure. The warm treatment we give is informed by our motto of Umuntu Ngumuntu Ngabantu, and we take that with pride. With those few words, if they are few, I say, let's not wait for an important opportunity in the future to actualize the adoption of practical, demonstrable, innovative green shipping technologies. Rather, let's create the opportunities and leave a legacy for generations to remember us by. God bless South Africa, God bless Africa, and God bless our world. Thank you.